So, what is this couple counseling? Couple counseling therapy is a sort of treatment using scientific methodologies and strategies. So, always as budding counselors, therapists, you need to know the very fact that we are just not doing that kind of advice giving, like how what a relative can do or what a neighbor can do. It is something that we are qualified in. All of us are studying. We've studied what we've studied is psychology, which is study of behavior. We are studying people through experimental proved methodologies. It's not something what a layman can do. But the same therapist for two people in a committed relationship. So when it is couple therapy, it's not that one person is seeking help from one counselor and the other partner is seeking support from the others. Sometimes it can be work with both the partners together, or it can be individual work. Suppose one partner has gone through something very traumatic in the childhood. For example, I'll give you a case. There was a case of a married couple where one partner was not getting along with the husband. The wife was not getting along well with the husband. And he did not know what was the reason. It's an arranged marriage, and they've just been married. Maybe it's 3 to 6 months of marriage, and there's so many problems in the marriage. We work, and finally come to a point where after this the relatives or the family is not able to handle this and they come to the counselor for help. So sometimes you need to have both people together, the husband and the wife together, and talk and take their concerns. Sometimes individually we'll have to work, take the concerns of the husband, take the concerns of the wife, and see what it is. So like when in this particular case, when there was individual work with which was done with both the people, I mean, like the husband separately and the wife separately, we come to know that taking into the history of the wife, when she was very young, she had a sexual offender in the neighborhood who was molesting her constantly, and she was not able to come out of that episodes. She did not talk about it outside, and it has been very traumatic for for that individual to come out of whatever she went through. She just suppressed everything inside. If you look into the defense mechanisms which we generally use in our day-to-day basis, I posted two videos on that recently. I'll share that with you. So if you look at it, no, like it is something that when it is suppressed, people tend to project that in different forms when they are becoming adults. So we are still carrying that baggage of whatever childhood trauma they went through, or whatever was the struggle. So that way, she was not able to connect with the husband because of his nose, is the reason she said. The abuser's nose was similar to the husband's nose. So here, we also need to maintain confidentiality of certain things when we're working privately. I don't have to go and reveal this to the husband. I have some responsibilities as a psychologist. I'm not supposed to go and reveal about this to the other person. So, so if the personalized work can be done very frequently with this wife alone, the quality of relationship between the couple can be improved. So there's no doubt about it. Because the problem is not in the relationship, it is not between two people, it is within one's own self. Someone's wounds which is not healed, which is projecting now in different forms in the marital life of the person, and the marriage was not consummated. She was not able to get into a sexual attachment with the husband, sexual relationship with the husband. So this is just an orientation of the difference between couple counseling and couple therapy. So though we use different terms, sometimes we use the term counseling, sometimes we use the term therapy. We can use that interchangeably, but there is difference. Both are different. The difference that I can see is that when you're trained in a particular therapy and you're putting that or using that tool in practice, you're a therapist. If you're someone who's graduated in your MSc and you're working, you've received some certain amount of training for counseling and you're working with a couple, then it is you're definitely eligible for couple counseling. And if you're someone who's an MSc psychology graduate, you are a couple counselor who can handle that case if you have the kind of training. In the beginning stages of my career, which I began in 2009 as an intern, from then till today, I've been under supervision of various seniors. I've done a lot of apprenticeship. Why I'm mentioning this point here is theoretically what we study in our textbooks. More than that, the practical experience that we have, what we see when you work in a field, what are certain things that you observe, that is like very important. My first job was as a special educator. There I used to meet couple, that is parents of children, and I know what is their struggles. Many parents are not very happy as a couple who have special kids, because everyone is frustrated. The mother has their own, like her own frustrations, the father has his own frustrations, societal pressure. So as a couple there, the relationship was strained is something that I observed there. And in hospitals there can be people with addiction problem. I worked in a de-addiction hospital soon after my MSc. So we used to see psychiatric patients with major mental illnesses, as well as who are inpatients. No, why I mentioned major mental illnesses. It is very difficult to handle someone with a major pathological illness like schizophrenia, where they have hallucinations, the voices hearing in the ears, or they see things, or they have their own imagination. They're able to smell certain things which people are not able to. Suddenly they behave very weirdly. There's too much of suspicion to the extent that they go to the extent of harming the other person. These are certain things that they cannot keep them at home and treat them. Some people can exhibit antisocial traits, one partner can exhibit it. Antisocial traits is not abiding by the rules and regulations and going beyond that, so it becomes a trouble. First who gets troubled in it is the partner. It's not that the person suddenly got it, maybe it's a habit. In our culture they also believe that once you get someone who is into these kind of habits into marriage, then they will change, they will become responsible. But that's not the thing. All that they need is some treatment and therapy depending upon the signs and symptoms that they are showing. So this is what is the difference that I'm saying. Everybody is like who studied psychology is eligible to work in this area. If you're exclusively trained in one particular area, then you are a couple therapist. That is the difference between mentioning yourself as a counselor and a therapist. So there are a wide variety of issues when it comes to a relationship. These are some of the reasons which we generally see among partners. You can just give it a reading in your mind. Financial relationships, family challenges. As I told you, the way a person communicates can sometimes lead to arguments. There can be disagreements on opinions. One partner has a kind of belief system where the other partner has a very different understanding. Expectations. I expected this, but these are the things that I got. And nowadays, it can be more of a kind of infertility problems. Couple with infertility problems are nowadays more in counseling, is what I'm saying. Infertility rate is becoming more. Maybe it's because of the influence of the kind of lifestyle we are living these days. And it could be the kind of food we are taking. It could be the shifts which we are working on. Many of the people who are into the, especially IT, are into different kind of shifts which like totally damages the body. 2 to 5 is a period where you're like supposed to sleep well and give enough rest to your brain, but we don't do that. So when over a period of 10 years, let's just imagine a female or a male has been on night shifts. So at the age of 28, 29, or 30, when they're getting married, that has a serious effect on what they're going through. So some people's libido can be very different. One person's sexual need is really high, where the other person cannot match. These kind of differences people can have. People can have different ideas about the future planning. Maybe one wants to just travel and just spend money, but the other wants to save and build up things like buying a house or something. These kind of clashes come. One very very important thing is infidelity. Infidelity is not being true to the partner by having extramarital affairs. The increasing number of cases of extramarital affairs is too much, and I also posted a video where I stated that it's okay to not like someone or not being interested in someone, but what is not okay is not communicating that with them. You very well communicate that this is not working out, and then you can like legally take a separation, legal divorce, and then you continue with whomever you want to marry, whether you're planning to marry them or not. It's up to them. But why be in one relationship at the same time, be in a relationship with someone else without the knowledge of the spouse, because the spouse is still thinking that you and the other, I mean, you and that individual are in a relationship. They do not know sometimes when like you get into a relationship, and when they come to know, it becomes even more like a kind of problematic scenario. Life transitions. At one point of time, I felt very something very attractive in this girl, and that charm or whatever I was attracted to earlier is not existing now. When I was in college, I felt that this boy was a kind of very masculine, a macho man kind of thing. But now I don't feel in reality that he's a hero. So over the phase, people can change, priorities can change, likes and dislikes vary. Parenting, as I told you, is a bigger stressor. Unemployment sometimes, especially during COVID, we faced a lot of these kind of cases where people had debts, and some people they don't double think before they take a loan or debt, that it is not only going to affect them, but it also going to affect the partner. So if you are not repaying, they'll definitely uh, question your wife. Your wife or your husband is answerable to the debt that you're making. I told you about addiction, substance abuse, and other things. So, what are certain areas you can actually work with people? Anger management. There's an exclusive group for anger management that we are maintaining, and there are 40 of us, 40 plus people in that group. I'll send that link to you guys also. Now we've completed 21 days of conscious anger management, how we are managing it, how we are using those emotions in connect with our own selves and in our relationships. Again, anxiety, stress, everyone goes through. It could be any kind of inferior feelings that the individual could have about their own self, which they project in a different way to someone else. In defense mechanism, if I really feel inferior about myself for whatever reasons, how I will defend myself is by talking ill about somebody else, and show that the other person is inferior. I project myself as someone else's problem, but I'm actually talking about my own self when I'm talking about the other person. This way, I feel good. This is a way that I can defend myself. I just want to convey that in words, but it doesn't. It's not happened to me, but it's happened to someone else. It's that insecurity of somebody else that I'm like talking about, but but it is actually mine. I might have too much of fears about life or whatever, so that fears, I generally talk that person A or B or C is having these kind of fears. So that is something that happens in a couple relationship ulta. Sometimes if I'm like feeling inferior, I will project it that my wife is feeling inferior or my husband is feeling inferior. And if one individual is suffering depression, maybe the other partner doesn't understand, so the person is not supportive. People the other like topics we've already covered. Sometimes it can be a forced marriage. I did not like this marriage, I was in a love with someone else, but due to in our society we still have this religion, caste system and all that, which are barriers for someone to that. In India it's not very easy that you go and tell that you love a particular person, they're not going to immediately get you married to that person, though the person can may have a decent job. Some are very concerned about their kind of community, society, whatever. So when it is a first marriage, it's a pressure for that individual to handle, and that smooth conversation or relationship, whatever, no, cannot happen. Unfulfilled desires. I wanted to lead a very luxurious life, but my husband is not providing enough for me to lead a life of luxury. I'm just giving you an example. It can be vice versa. So, according to Maslow's hierarchy, we should understand that once for every individual, the physiological need is satisfied. Physically, if my need is satisfied, physical needs means what? Primary, what we need is food and water for hunger, and a place to sleep. We want to sleep. That's all. Safety comes next. We need a roof on top to sleep. And our doors are locked, our gates are locked, main door is locked. That is a safety need. Next, love and belongingness. I need to be loved, I want to be loved, and I want to give it again. I want to love people, I want to give it to back to my close ones, I want to express it, I want to receive, I want to as well as give. And it's giving me a kind of sense of belongingness and self esteem needs. So, once all these needs are satisfied, now I'm looking for something within myself that is giving me a kind of identity and acknowledgement. That, for example, this is Swati Priya. Swati Priya is a counseling psychologist. I should say this that I had a lot of pride. No, I wouldn't say it's a negative thing. Pride in putting my name board on my gate after I bought my house. It's just been 1.5 years since myself and my spouse together we bought a house. So earlier it was we were using a lot of rental spaces, and when we bought a house, it took so much of pride for me to put that name board with my qualifications and that kind of whatever acknowledgement I have. So this is, I'm just giving it as an example for an individual's self-esteem need. It will differ from individual to individual based on your age also. So at your age, for the college students, I would have been something else would have been my self-esteem need. Today, something else. So this is me. This is my identity. This is my family. This is what is my financial status in the society, or this is what I am. Kind of no, I've established or something like that. No, I'm not saying I'm a well-established person. I'm just giving you an example that people want to feel that way. It's very natural for people to feel that way. I want to buy a bike first, then I want to buy a car. So this is what I am, is the kind of self esteem need that every individual has. Beyond all that is self actualization. Now I'm looking for purpose and meaning in life. Many couple who are in their, I wouldn't say old age, but maybe 55 plus, they can feel this emptiness syndrome where their children and sons are like married. And now what do I have to do? I was running all around for my family. I thought that providing for my family is my responsibility. Now I finished all that. Everybody is like married, they settled abroad or some other state. Now I have nothing else to do, only me and my wife. That can be a little kind of depressing when they turn back and see they haven't done much anything for themselves. They've not led a life of purpose or meaning, as some people realize. And maybe there comes the need that I need to go on a pilgrimage, talking more about God or spending time with these kind of exploring temples, whatever. So that comes out of the self actualization need. But we are very fortunately, as psychologists, from the very beginning, as budding counselors, from the very beginning, we are into service professionals, and our self actualization, only people with a strong self actualization need will, for a long time, will stand in this profession. Why? Because every time I feel that I'm contributing something to the society, that makes me feel good about myself, good about me. And I'm leading a life of purpose, and there is meaning in my existence. Tomorrow, when my children look at me, somewhere I want to feel that I've been a person who has led a life of meaning. She did like live purposeful living, kind of feeling to give people, and to also like pass it on to the next generation because they are growing up looking at us. So that is something that I strongly believe in. So this is what Maslow has given us. And I think as counselors, you very well know that emotional venting is very, very important for every individual. You have to give them that safe space where they can really like talk about what they're going through. Nobody asks. Everybody is very ready to give advice to people, but we are not here to give advice. But first, initially, to facilitate that kind of conversation where they're able to open up, we call it as the initial disclosure. Initial providing that initial disclosure for your client and that space to talk about what they're feeling and what they're going through, and giving that trust that this is a safe place within this four walls. Whatever you're talking is not going to go outside. They will probably trust you. Why? Because you're a third party. There's no way that you will go and gossip about that person, because no one else, you don't know anyone else in that surrounding area or whatever, no. So they will feel comfortable with a third party who's a mental health professional rather than a favorite uncle or favorite aunt who they think is a favorite, but we don't know whether that is really favorite, or whom we think is a reliable source in our family circle, relative circle, or neighborhood circle, is not maybe that kind of trustworthy person. For example, I know someone who's like quite elder to me, like a mother figure. So I was like quite close with her when I was working in a school. So I used to like tell her about some family issues or whatever, which what was happening then at that time. I was unmarried then. So I didn't even know that she was like traveling with me, but she was like telling things outside to everyone. I was just using it as a emotional venting. When I tell something, I become little. I feel lighter. She was going and tell. She was telling her. I never knew that unless someone came and told me and asked me about something which I told her. I did not know that she's doing this in the staff room. We got close to each other because we were working together for a magazine. She's a Tamil HOD. Nowadays in schools also we have this head department HOD. So Tamil HOD, initially we got connected because I don't know to read and write Tamil. I can speak Tamil. I belong to Chennai. I'm here in Coimbatore for quite some time. I came here for work. Then I married someone here, which was a COVID marriage. But then the thing is, what the point which I was trying to make here is uh, that kind of I trusted her, and I don't know if she would have done that for her daughter, but she did it to me. But now I think maybe the person, some people are very open mouthed. Maybe she would have done it the same to her daughter. That is the person's personality. What I can do is just distance myself from the person, not go fight with the person, or if you come to know somebody is not trustworthy, just that distance will help. So, as a mental health professional, this is what we need to facilitate, and the kind of connect which you have with your client is very, very important. The trust and looking at you as a person who is, so these are just the different stages which you take it up to termination after seeing the success and progress of the person. So, initially, I was talking to you about theories. Due to like the limited time which is available to us, I'm not getting into that. But I want to introduce this concept of using expressive arts therapy in couple counseling. For example, you can just look at the slide. I'll give you a small example of how we can use it. I had a case recently of a couple where the wife, whenever she's getting angry, whenever she's getting triggered, what she has this habit of going outside the house, and she'll scream near the gate or outside the gate so that people in that locality, she wants attention from people from the locality that some injustice is happening to her. So this is a repeated habit which she has been exhibiting. Okay. And so this is just a situation, and I'm not going into the details of why she did that. It's like not something very serious. It's not something very serious. Common conflicts which we can have within families in our culture and our society, because we know in our own families we go through a lot of things. In the society we know what are certain things which can happen in our context, Indian context, and it is something, not something very serious that you have to like project, I mean show to everyone. It is not for you to, it's your private life. You don't have to display it to everyone. If you're not comfortable, you have all the right to say you're not comfortable. Don't talk to them. You deal with it in a different way. But just you want to like put them to shame. You do this. That was the kind of mindset that particular person had, which I understood from her own conversation which I had with her. I'm not assuming, it was she who communicated that when they do this, I will do this. Kind of a rebellious attitude. Then, how can I use drama or theater work in a therapeutic setting to make this person understand what they're doing. So when I told the husband that I want to have individual sessions with the wife. So while working with the wife, then I talk to her. I have a good rapport with her, and in one particular session, I just ask her to show me how she reacts when she's generally getting angry. And in the same room, I wanted her to place some chairs um, of the different characters in her house. So one chair was her mother-in-law, one chair was her father-in-law, one chair was for the husband, one chair was for the child. So there were four chairs placed. It was her decision. We give the choice to them in the room to place where they want to place the chairs. So she like generally depending on the distance of people, usually when they are like physically like maybe like who are like quite close to you, maybe the mother-in-law and husband are like in the first row, a little distance the father-in-law was placed, and the child was placed somewhere in the child. So we give it to them. It is their choice to decide on where they want to place these different characters. So she did that, and after that, I asked her to demonstrate to me on how she generally behaves to get into that mode of anger. Generally when something happens at home, how do you react? So show me a demonstration of what you generally, how do you react generally. So she showed me. I encouraged her to role play that. That is when they're comfortable with you, they'll be very free to openly express and be themselves. So she showed me. She displayed the kind of language, the statements, the tone of voice which she used to use when she's angry. So so I grasp her body language. I grasp her statements. I can even make note of it for myself, for my use in that therapeutic session. Then what I want her to do is I imitate her. I imitate the same behavior, and um, once I'm done with the imitation, I just want her to observe me. I want her only to observe me when I'm enacting that. I can take my time to prepare myself for how I show up like her. And then I will now ask her, after observing my behavior, to go and sit in the chair of the husband. Go and sit in and give a feedback about how you felt. Now she is not so and so. Let's just consider the girl's name as Rani. So when Rani is not Rani now. I'm asking Rani to be put herself in the shoes of Rani's husband. So she's sitting in Rani's husband's place. What do you feel about the current situation? About what do you think about? I ask her questions. What do you feel about Rani's behavior? What is your understanding about Rani? Similarly, like go and sit in the mother-in-law chair. So you're Rani's mother-in-law, father-in-law chair. You're Rani's father-in-law. What did you think about Rani? Finally comes the girl child. They have a child, no? Uh, no, that is the point when she started crying. That kind of realization we are giving them, that they are not aware that this behavior of me, other people also, I'm like okay, but when it comes to my child, for this particular person it became very sentimental, that she felt that she's doing something wrong to her child. That is what she expressed. This is just an example of the drama therapy, which I was like talking to you about. Similarly, expressive arts is something which is like helps a lot to work with individuals as single people or as a couple. Here, what I was doing is I was playing the role of Rani, and I was also the director of this particular drama. I was an audience, I've been an audience, I've enacted it, I've directed it. So we call it, when we do deeper work, we call it a psychodrama. So we can ask people to put in artistic way of what they generally feel. Sometimes it can be collage work, as couple to do a collage work together, put bits and pieces of what journey I'm going to create after this. Maybe a small example of using visual arts. Visual arts is painting, drawing, scribbling. Scribble art techniques are there, and then what are the paint? Using that paint, paint is more of a therapeutic thing. Now use your hands, use your thumb, different things you can explore to feel good. It's like the bringing the healthy child out of you kind of thing, no? And everybody loves dance. Dance movement therapy is otherwise called as body movement therapy. We move our bodies, our body is connected with the mind. You move your body energy shifts, you just observe that, and that has a strong connection for you with what you're thinking and what you're feeling. Generally we feel a lot relieved after you move your bodies, whether it's a dance or whether even if you walk, you go for a walk and come back. So that is the connect which a change in a body movement can do to your mind. And music of course is therapeutic for all of us. Sometimes if someone is exclusively a music therapist, they might have musical instruments also in the session. So music therapy is not about playing instruments. If you are someone who's already trained in an instrument, it's an added advantage, but still we can conduct that and facilitate it. Healing soothing music helps people feel calmer and more participative. And integrated expressive art approach, we integrate visual arts along with music or some other modality. Usually dance modality comes with music, so on. So storytelling, exploring life journeys. I tell my story as somebody else's story. For example, I can ask Rani to tell her life from in whatever she went through. She's a 27-year-old woman. So in the past, so Rani will not be called as Rani, but we will give her some name, say Rose or Pinky or whatever. So she will mention her own story in somebody else's name. She will narrate it, or she can indulge in creative writing. She will write it as a story, which is less offensive for that individual. You understand? Rather than saying that Swati went through this, it's very easy for me to use some other name to speak. When I speak, I'll get stuck when it is happening to Swati. When I'm saying that Swati went through this, Swati was not treated well, Swati went through a lot of pain, it's easier for me to say that Pinky went through all this. So, and in storytelling, we have these kind of life journeys which I'm going to create for the future, for my future. Right. So now we know the past of story of Rani, which is projected in someone else's name. So after this, how would Pinky take this across? So when we are speaking, we will not say I. We will say she, or we will say he, depending on whoever is your main character. Storytelling helps to characterize the individual, project their own characteristics for another individual, goal setting to explore the individual's strengths, and to also know what are the limitations, how generally the person uses problem solving strategies, coping mechanisms, and as a result, what happens. So, this as an activity, this is again an integrated approach. We will be using visual arts and speaking up, narrating the stories. In the meanwhile, we can also play music when they're doing this activity. This is called integrated approach. This comes out of training. So I did my expressive arts therapy in 2014 from Women's Christian College. After which I've been 2 years under supervision, and I did my field work under Dr. Veena, who was the HOD then. Now I'm not aware who the HOD is. And I was fortunately, like, I was working with the East West Center for Counseling. Maglin Jayaratnam was one of the trainer there for us, and she's part of the course. And it was very easy for me to like connect. And expressive arts is something like which is very latest in India. In 1980s it became popular, and it's something of European origin. And very few people are trained in expressive arts therapy in India. This is something like which was very rare. When I did the course, most of the trainers, almost everybody, were they came down from abroad for those modules. We had different trainers for different modules, and they also gave us certificates from their department that we did this. I mean, they are also associated with an university. They work somewhere, or they're a professor somewhere. They come down to work with us in WCC. WCC gives us a certificate. Other than that, they also gave us for individual modules, the modalities which they taught us. Grief of a person or the pain of a person can be expressed in whichever form they want to. Everybody has their own choice. I can choose writing. If I'm good at writing, I can write poetry well. See, for me, if you ask, I'm very good at writing. I'm good at talking, narrating. I'm good at arts, but I'm not someone very much inclined towards body movement. And I'm not someone much inclined towards psychodrama also. If you ask me as a client, similarly, you know what your client is, because you don't immediately when they come in, you're not going to start this work. This is intense work, intense deep work with the emotions. For example, in CBT, you're working on the thought. If you work on the thought, what happens is the emotion changes, and then the thoughts change. Thoughts, I mean, the thought, you're working on the thoughts, and then the emotions change. As a result, the behavior changes. In behavior modification therapy, what we are doing is we are trying to make a change in the behavior. Because you are making that change in that behavior, the feeling of the person becomes better, and thereby there can be an improvement in the thought system of that person. They can restructure their thoughts. But here in expressive arts therapy, we are working on emotions. When we are working on emotions and we are able to better that emotion, then what happens is the person's thoughts, you can see a change, and you can see a change in the behavior. This is one of the techniques, like how some people can be a therapist. I've done it. I've done most of these courses. I've done CBT. Like, in this journey, it's quite long. My journey is quite long. So I've attended a lot of. I'm someone who's very much inclined towards the subject. So I just was too much involved into whatever comes up. I kept working all toward, like, all through my life from 2009. Even when I studied, my MPhil was for half a day. The rest half a day, I did not discontinue work in the hospital, because the 24/7 hospital with inpatients and outpatients. Then I worked with an NGO, and through which we used to visit different schools, colleges. I worked with a corporate, and that's how I came to Coimbatore, because one of the branch of the corporate was here. I continued my work in Coimbatore for some time, and I just got some opportunities to work with some affluent schools which pay you pretty decent. So I wouldn't mind to relocate and stay and do work. So that's how my journey started. Now, like, I'm doing freelancing. I go as a consultant to visit people, and these are some of the techniques which are like very very useful, and it's like an icebreaker between you and your client if you are properly trained in it, and you can use it. For younger children, we use play therapy and other forms. Storytelling itself can be from the age of 4 to senior citizens. You can apply these techniques. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me. And sociometry, I was talking about sociometry when I was putting a post. Sociometry is nothing but like this in this example I mentioned, no, the wife's example, Rani's example, where she's placing those chairs. Similarly, that can be done visually also, where you place people in your life to just understand what you're thinking, whether you're thinking positive about them, you're thinking cautious about them, you're sensing danger towards them, what are they feeling in turn towards you. This kind of an analysis you can do. So that is about to know your world. Your world is only existing in your mind, it's not the reality. The real world can be anything, but we are trying to look into our own world. That self awareness is very important before we come into conclusions on what we really want to change, whether it is ourselves or we have to change the location, or it is something to do with the other person. For us to get that realization, these tools will be helpful. For healing, it can also be helpful. I don't want to take more of your time because like we began a little late. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask, or you can just tell me what was your understanding about all the. What is some new takeaway that you are you got from this conversation which you had with me? The kind of slides we saw. Anyone can go first. There's no right or wrong. You can openly say what you felt and what was your takeaway. Yeah, can we make it faster? Anyone? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
நான் இதுல என்ன அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கேன்னா, நம்ம ஒருத்தரோட ஒரு ஃபீலிங்ஸ் எவ்வளவு தூரம் நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்க முடியும், அதுக்குண்டான ஸ்பேஸ் என்ன இருக்கு, எந்த மாதிரி நம்ம அந்த கம்யூனிகேஷன் எப்படி டெவலப் பண்ணிக்கணும், ஃபர்தரா என்ன மாதிரி எந்த இடத்துல நம்மளோட கம்யூனிகேஷன் லீக்கா ப்ராப்பரா இல்ல, பிஹேவியர் எந்த இடத்துல மாடிஃபிகேஷன் பண்ணணும், அதனால நம்மளுக்கு என்ன பெனிஃபிட்ன்றத நம்ம கொஞ்சம் யோசிச்சு திங்க் பண்ணோம்னா இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு கப்புள்ஸ் இது வரவே வராதுன்ற மாதிரி இருந்தது. ப்ளஸ் அந்த எக்ஸ்பிரசிவ் ஆர்ட்ஸ் தெரப்பி பெஸ்ட் எக்ஸாம்பிளா நான் ஃபீல் பண்றேன். ஏன்னா நிறைய பேருக்கு இந்த மாதிரி இதை பத்தி தெரியவே தெரியல. இந்த மாதிரி நீங்க ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் கொடுத்துருந்தீங்க ராணின்னு சொல்லிட்டு, அந்த எக்ஸாம்பிள்ல வந்து நான் நல்லாவே புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டேன். அவங்க மற்றவங்கள மாதிரி ரியாக்ட் பண்ணும்போது அதோட இம்பேக்ட் வந்து எப்படி இருக்குன்றத அவங்களும் ஃபீல் பண்ண முடியும். நம்மளுக்கும் நம்ம வந்து தெரப்பி கொடுத்தோன்ற ஒரு சாட்டிஸ்ஃபேக்ஷனும் நம்மளுக்கு இருக்கா மாதிரி நான் இதுல இருந்து புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டேன் மேம்.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, the next person. Just a few words. You can speak whatever you feel. Don't have to shy off.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Akila.
Actually, I felt this session was very useful, and we don't know much about the expressive arts therapy, and we learned a lot and the types of expressive arts therapy. For our understanding, expressive arts therapy is just only about drawings, and it's about colors. That's what we think. But now you shared many insights about the expressive arts therapy, and we came to know about the many types of art therapy. And psychodrama was very new thing for us, and you made us understand what is the psychodrama and the impact of the psychodrama in your client. And your case within it was really helpful to understand the case, and you showed the cause and effects of anger and how couple counseling was effective to everyone.
All
Thank
right.
you, ma'am.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to speak? Yes.
Ma'am, thank
Yes,
you
ma'am.
so much, ma'am. This is Divya. So I felt so happy to hear all this, listen all this, especially expressive art therapy. For the first time, I heard this. No, I just know about the word and all. As same Akila, I thought it's all about painting and drawing, etc. So today I came to know a very detailed. Oh, thank you, ma'am. This drama therapy, even I feel this drama therapy is so good. Ma'am, can we get this change in one sitting about this
No, madam, it will
psychodrama
take,
thing?
depending upon the client you're working with. I'm just sharing my
Okay.
contact number. You can WhatsApp me for further
Okay.
doubts. Um,
Okay.
does Betsy want to say something?
எஸ் மேம். எக்ஸ்பிரசிவ் ஆர்ட் தெரப்பி பத்தி நிறையவே தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்ட மாதிரி ஃபீல் ஆச்சு மேம். ஏன்னா அகிலா சொன்ன மாதிரி தான் எங்களுக்கு நாங்கள் இது வரைக்கும் லேர்ன் பண்ணதில்ல. எக்ஸ்பிரசிவ் ஆர்ட் தெரப்பினா ட்ராயிங்ஸ் அந்த மாதிரி தான் நாங்கள் நினச்சிட்டு இருந்தோம். இப்போ நிறைய கற்றுக்கிட்ட மாதிரி ஃபீல் இருக்கு மேம்.
All right.
தேங்க்யூ
So,
ஸோ மச்.
thank you, all of you.